the dead is a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family, then back in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am counting the fleet. Standing my ground, I am counting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Where we're back home on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Back where we're supposed to be. Today is February 2nd. In the States, that is Groundhog Day. I don't know if you have anything like that in Canada, Carolyne.
We do. I don't know which day it is, but we have it as well.
And Punxsutawney Phil, which is really close to where I grew up, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, came up at Gobbler's Knob and saw his shadow and scurried back in the hole, meaning that we have 6 more weeks of winter. Boo.
Yeah, to be expected. I feel like that's the way this winter has been going.
Yeah. When I saw that news, I believe an animal.
Yeah.
Anyway, right? And it's not like just pure transparency. When I was in college and I was bouncing at a bar, one night we closed up shop. We hopped in our car. We headed to Punxsutawney and we watched this thing live. There's no way that groundhog is in his natural habitat.
Right.
Like he's under 800 lights.
Right.
And being poked and prodded and all this kind of stuff. There's no way he's giving a real forecast.
It's like the dogs or the mascots during playoffs that hit a ball into a bucket and it's like, this one's going to win this series in 7. And it's like, how many?
Yeah.
It's as accurate as that.
Yeah. Wow. We've already got questions flooding.
I
know. Lex, how am I and how is my wife's knee? I have been better. I woke up this morning with a major sore throat. Just trying to get through the day and trying to I'm leading a project at work, so I have to be better tomorrow somehow. Been in emergency meetings for a week and a half straight. Not loving life, but the good news is Saturday, officially, I can walk out from my job and I'm guaranteed a check the rest of my life.
Congratulations.
Now, for the longer I stay, the bigger that check becomes.
Okay.
Now we just got to build it up. But at this point, I can walk away and get paid the rest of my life. But my wife's doing awesome. I was telling Jamie and Carolyne before the show, she's moving better now than she was before the surgery. The pain she was in before is gone, and now she's just dealing with the surgery pain, which is better than what it would have been beforehand. So then we have Jamie. How's the gym?
Oh Lord. There hasn't been much more on the remodeling front because I've got to put in the second order of things that we needed just from the certain bars not working. So I'm going to put that order in tonight. And then hopefully when Aaron's shut down from GM at the end of February, which will coincide with the open, we can get it actually done. But I'm also in the process of switching over from push press to Chalk It Pro. We've always had Chalk It Pro. That's what we use for our workouts, logging our workouts.
Chalk It Pro?
Chalk It Pro, yep. Yep, that's always been our logging. Well, not always. Years ago we had Be on the Whiteboard. We've had a couple different things. But I'd say for the last probably 5 years, we've had Chalk It Pro. It's tied to level method. So it comes in the color coded levels. And then we had push press for billing, and Chalk It got the billing side. And I'm sick of having, the thing is, I really, really like push press. I just don't like their logging as much. And we're so used to level method that I just can't really get rid of Chalk It. So I just gonna have to bite the bullet and deal with the billing side on Chalk It. So I'm migrating everyone over from push press and setting up the store and the calendar, and holy cow, it's way more in depth than I I mean, I kind of expected it to take a while, but this is like, it's getting ridiculous. So if anyone has knowledge of chalk it, share it with me. I mean, what do you have?
I like Beyond the Whiteboard. I know Beyond the Whiteboard very well.
I do. I always really, really liked Beyond the Whiteboard as a logging system. I was sad when we got rid of it. But like I said, the chalk it is tied to level method. But what's dumb is we don't really do level method programming. We follow Training Think Tank affiliate programming. So I go in every Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, and spend like 6 hours leveling out chalk it into leveling out Training Think programming into chalk. So I don't know. It is.
Yeah, I've been on Beyond the Whiteboard all day because my affiliate owner, he just gave me access to like the admin part of it because I've been programming for like the affiliate for years. Lex and I now program together. But I'm going to use it with my students this semester because we just got a TV in the fitness room and a Chromecast. So I want to be able to like Chromecast, and then I'm going to be adding some students, get them to start logging. Because I always buy them little journals.
Yeah.
So that they can write their workouts.
Yeah.
Which I still will, because in case some people don't want to use the app or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But just something new to try with them.
Yeah. Beyond the Whiteboard is great. Nothing bad to say there.
Yeah.
All in one.
I think we used Beyond the Whiteboard. I used Beyond the Whiteboard before my gym had a logging system.
Mm-hmm.
And my first 2 notebooks are still on that bookshelf over there.
I have
when I first started.
physical
There's
notebooks as
something
well.
about writing in a little notebook when you first start working out that it's almost like everyone started like that. I've been old school with my students and making them do it in a journal, but this semester will be the first time I try it with a software. I think I'll only try it with my grade 11 and 12s that have done the course many times with me. So give them that.
Next thing is sad Colten didn't get offered WFP, the People's Champ.
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake personally.
I do. I mean, I see in here someone said he would have been a better choice than Hoffer. I gotta say, there's something to like having those people out there that you know are going to come take a spot. Because that's the thing. Like, if you have the top 20 in there, who the frick's coming to take a spot?
Well,
Yeah, Colton's already
change
signed up for the
year.
Challenger division.
That's perfect. Like, he's going to bring the excitement for that division because he probably will earn a spot.
But if you look at like golf or tennis, that pro card changes every year. Maybe not near the top, but down in that fringe. 15 through 25 is pretty arbitrary, right? So it could be anybody, but the mistake is that Colten draws fans. He is probably at this point one of the top 2 or 3 draws on the men's side of CrossFit. And if you're going to bring someone in, that would be the person you would bring in.
His following has really increased on Instagram as well.
Right, exactly.
He's doing a good job with his social media. He's been probably one of the most one of the accounts that have grown the most, I would assume, in the CrossFit space in the last year. If someone were to run the numbers of who got the most followers in the year, I think he's got to be up there.
You can't say that him being a challenger isn't going to draw the crowds.
Oh, it will.
I mean, this could be some kind of a background setup.
But the challenger is online. If he's top 10 in the challenger, he's in the same field with the 20.
Right. Exactly. But that's the thing. Like, he's pretty much going to do the same thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of other people that are very good that would be good in that if you worked on promoting them. And that's the proposal I sent to Will. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be the group that focus on the challengers. You guys run with your pro card people. Let us focus on the challengers and try to highlight them, get people to know them, feature them more. And I'm still waiting to hear back. So hopefully, I mean, I did hear back, but I didn't hear back with an answer yet.
Gotcha. Just received. Got it.
It was more than that. It was much more than that. I don't want to say like they ignored me. They did not. Will was very appreciative of the proposal and everything. He was turning it over to his media team, which I don't know who that is. So I don't even know who to follow up with other than Will. And I don't want to just like pound him with.
Yeah.
But I will go back soon.
Was a question if you could see who signed up for the qualifier so far. And yes, you can. If you go on Competition Corner, it's called World Fitness Tour Challenger Qualifier. I don't know if you can pull it up, Scott, and you can see the athletes that have signed on and are signed up for the qualifier right now. And Colten's already on there, including Spin and a few others. I'm just taking a look right now.
I did not have any of that ready, but we will.
I have it open. I don't know how to share though, but
It's called World.
if you go on Competition Corner, yeah, I just searched Challenger and it popped up with World Fitness Tour Challenger Qualifier.
Okay.
And theirs starts, I think it's during one of the weeks of the Open, I believe.
So there are the males.
Is it the last week of the Open? I can't read that.
There's Colten right there.
I feel like it's not low.
Actually, maybe I think it's the week right after because I think the last week of the Open is done on March 17th, and this one begins on the 19th. So just a couple days after the following week is this one. So I guess it takes the place of the quarterfinals basically that you had right after the Open.
So these are the participants.
Caden Hogan. Decent number of signups already. Wow. I almost expected this to be probably not sign up until that 17th, 18th, right after at the end of the Open when you kind of see where you're.
Or you see what the workouts are. Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty good number on the so far, and it's a month away. It's not bad.
Then here are the females. Dana Perrin.
Jennifer Muir. Grace Locke.
Jessie Smith.
Nice.
Makes sense with her. Oh, Catherine is a girl from CrossFit Sarnia. Shout out to them. Phoenix.
Mathilde Garnes.
Yeah.
Some decent names there.
Yeah. So
are you gonna sign up, Carolyne?
Yeah, I will. I'll take a look at what the workouts are first. And then probably decide from there. But yeah, most likely.
Good job in your Northern Classic qualifiers. Some good scores.
I won the one workout with deadlift and box jumps, which I like.
Yeah, 11.3. Yeah.
And then the death by was I did well on that one. I made a mistake in my last round of thrusters. I should have been able to. I was 2 reps shy of finishing it, and then I dropped the bar, and I was mentally weak in that round.
I
just didn't time it right, and then ran out of time. And I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I was like, why did I drop the bar?
Do we know what the fee is to sign up for the Challenger?
$25 American, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, since we talked World Fitness Tour, we'll jump to that first. They made some signings after Wodapalooza. I will show that. I have a bunch of share screens here. So the first big announcement was that Saxon Panchek is no longer a signed athlete. He is taking another role with World Fitness Project. And if you open that up, you actually see, I'm excited to be changing directions and taking on a new role at the World Fitness Project.
Curious what that is.
Yeah, me too. Then since Wodapalooza, we have Lucy Campbell.
Nice.
We have Danny Spiegel. We have Olivia Kerstetter. On the men's side, we have Austin Hatfield and Jeff Adler. That closes out the men for sure. The women, is there one spot open?
Yeah, I've counted 19 women. So, I mean, you have Laura and Tia. I don't expect Tia to sign on this. And I guess we'll see if Laura's the other one.
So then the other thing I wanted to share, and Carolyne just sent this to me, minutes ago. That is this one. I'll try to blow this. So this is the field for the men, the 20. Bruce Wayne Saxon is no longer an athlete with WFP. He is some other role yet to be announced. So what this is it's a list of the 20 athletes, and then what region they're from, their Apollo ranking, which is the new Dale, what's his first name? Barkley Dale.
Oh, okay.
Ranking system. And then
which that system basically takes like a strength of field and puts you again, like it'll give you a ranking every competition, but if the strength of field is higher, that competition becomes worth more. So it has a whole ranking on that part. And then obviously the rogue ranking takes into consideration not all the comps, but rogue, I think it takes the open, semifinals. It did take quarterfinals and the games, and I don't know if they take Wadapalooza. I don't think they take Wadapalooza on that one. Yeah.
So on the men's side, most of this makes sense. Most of the men are ranked in the top 20 in one of the two polls, but there are two that are not, and that is Luka Jukic and Victor Hoffer. You can see that Victor Hoffer was 57th in the Apollo ranking and 32nd in the Rogue. Luka was 31st in the Apollo and 56th in the Rogue. And so, but they did say way back when they were doing the media tour that they had 4 wild card spots. And I'm assuming that that's what that is. The rest of this is pretty clear cut. What I find fascinating though is who is the number 1 Apollo ranked male athlete that's not on this list?
Brent Fikowski.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I had asked the question, then like right away I knew my own answer. I was like, it's Brent, of course. I was like, why did I ask that?
Wow.
No, he did have a great year last year, though. He did well at Rogue. He did well at the games. Well, at semis, like he was very consistent throughout the year. So no matter what field
people are throwing out other names, but like Noah was 10th in the Rogue ranking, just 43rd in the Apollo ranking. So at least he was top 20 in one of the rankings. And the Apollo ranking is brand new. This wasn't even out when WFP first came to light. They said they were going to follow something like the Rogue poll.
Yeah.
So that would actually be more accurate for the most part. And again, they said they had the option of 4 wild cards that they could pick just wherever they wanted.
14 out of the 20 athletes here are ranked in the top 20 in both categories, to give you an idea. 14 out of them. And then, like you said, 2 of them aren't in any of them. And then there are some athletes that are ranked inside the top 20 in one of the different categories.
So
most of the time being the Rogue ranking, which takes probably a little bit more historical stuff, and when they were still competing individually for some of them.
And just to make sure we give credit, this actually came from Be Friendly,
Yes.
Instagram account. So we did not put this together. They did. So kudos to them for making this an easy chart to look at real quick. And
yeah,
see.
I like that chart. It was like, I had to send it to you guys right away. I was like, this is perfect. Because we were wondering that, especially I would definitely am curious to see when that women's field gets completed if it's similar numbers, right? Because we think about something that like maybe some people don't necessarily quote unquote belong there, but then all of a sudden statistically they do. So
Yeah. All right.
thank you, be friendly.
So I think that pretty much closes out most of what we were going to talk about on the World Fitness Project for now. In addition, this week we skipped over this in the catch up because we had so many questions. Next week is Super Bowl. So more than likely we will do our show on Monday if everybody is available. Because I don't want to compete with the Super Bowl. Everybody watches it. We want to make sure that we have as many viewers as possible. So we'll probably do next week's show on Monday night. Any picks for the games?
No. Well, I'll be at Fittest of the Coast next weekend. So I won't even be. I don't know what time we get home on Monday.
Okay. So they have a winter version of Fittest on the Coast?
Fittest of the Coast is the Charleston.
Oh,
one.
the Charleston one. Yeah.
I know. I keep saying Fresh Coast. It's been a nightmare in my head.
Yeah, I have a bad taste in my mouth with those guys. So
With Fresh Coast?
No, with Fittest of the Coast.
Oh, I don't know anything about the comp.
So last year, I'll air dirty laundry. What the heck? Drama. Here we come. Last year, Dave Hardy came up to me and said, I love your after shows. I love what you guys do. I would love if you guys came to Fittest of the Coast and did like after shows, talking about the event, having people on, doing all that kind of stuff, doing your thing where you're interviewing people and all of that. And so I said, cool. So he gave me the name of the organizer because I think his home gym is what runs it. So I contacted them and they were very abrupt. Like, I have my media team. We don't need you here. And I don't have any spots. And I was like, okay, I won't ask again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy. Yeah. I didn't ask for any money. I didn't ask for any, like, it was just an introductory. Hey, this is what we do. We'd love to come down. Nope, nothing.
I wonder if Dave spoke to them at all.
I told Dave about the confrontation. He was surprised.
Yeah.
But he didn't get back to me like with anything of like an explanation or anything like that. And I love Dave Hardy, so shout out to him too, because he won his High Rocks event again this week in the 60+ division.
Way to go, Dave.
I will say my pick for the Super Bowl this week is the Eagles.
Okay.
I want Saquon to win.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'm going for them, but I just don't. It's hard to pick against Mahomes and the refs. So we'll see what happens. But nothing against the Swifties because I do like Taylor Swift. I'm not like a crazy fan of Taylor's, but like I have nothing against the Swifties. But I would like to see the Eagles win and Saquon for sure.
Yeah. All right. So next up is, I was surprised to see this kind of. I was, surprised. It's free. I was surprised to see this. I always watch CrossFit stuff when I go to bed. Like I just lay down, throw the YouTube on, bounce through thing, and I saw Lauren Fisher pop up, which I haven't seen in a while. So I was like,
I saw that too.
I was surprised, and here she announced that she's hanging it up to focus on her. I think it's called Grown Strong.
Yeah, Grown
Yeah.
Strong.
Grown Strong. Her company.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a cool retirement video. It talks about how her and Rasmus met, how they didn't like each other at first at Invictus, and how she got involved with Invictus and how intimidating it was at first. And I'll just share my first memory with Lauren is she was, when the team series first started, she was on Rogue Team Red. And back in the day, Rogue would have a team red and a team black, and they would bring them into Rogue, and they would do the workouts here in Columbus. And if you watch the Instagram, you'd get about an hour notice. And if you drove really fast and faked sick from work, you could run over to Rogue and watch the teams go. And so I would do that every year. They did that. And the first year was Lauren Fisher, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, Josh Bridges, and Dan Bailey. And so I ran over to watch it, and I just was in awe that this little, and she was so young at the time, the amount she could lift. But it blew me away because you got to watch them warm up. I could not believe how much they warmed up. That was my first taste of that. And way before I ever got into media or even volunteering, we went over to do that. And I would always take my daughter, and she loved it. And she got to meet these athletes who were so kind to her, and always encouraging. And Lauren was one of those. She was really quiet, but she was really nice and encouraging to my daughter. And I loved every bit of that. And I still have probably 200 pictures from that day.
That team series was fun back then.
It was.
That was a great competition.
I like the 4-person better than the 2. It's
harder to get 4 though.
It was.
But
the workouts were more fun with 4.
But yeah, no. I still remember Lauren when she was really young, because she was at the 2014 games, I think, when I was first entering the CrossFit Space. And I just remember her like brown hair always flicking in her face anytime she was doing like ring muscle ups and stuff. And I was like, how is this girl like working out with her ponytail just like flopping around? But yeah, she was like the youngest athlete there, I think, at that time. And Rogue had signed her right away. And it just seemed like she was she made the games for a few years, and went more team side of things, but she never quite, I think, went to as big as what she was when she first started in the space. Had plenty of potential, but then had a few injuries, I think, over the last few years, if I remember.
Yeah.
And then obviously she was injured that year with Annie when she got called up on the team, which was unfortunate because they had a great team. Probably were the favorites to win there.
I was surprised the retirement video had the meltdown on the parallel.
Wow.
So she did it all.
She had a very difficult time when she lost her mom, I think. I don't know Lauren like personally, but just from afar on social media, I don't think it's been the same maybe for her on the CrossFit side since her mom hasn't been there. So I think it makes sense to see her kind of step away from the sport and maybe still like train CrossFit and stuff like that, but just have different projects, her and Ras, and their future.
Speaking of her mom, she tells the story of first going to Invictus, and her mom did CrossFit, and they were parked outside, and they look in and they see Reagan, and they see Camille, and they see she names off like 5 or 6 games athletes, right? And she goes, I can't go in there. Like, I'm not good enough for that. And her mom's like, well, I'm going in. And she popped out, and her mom walked in to go do the workout. And then Lauren had to walk in, and she said it was the best thing she ever did doing that. But Lexier says they started at the same gym, CrossFit 209, with Gabe Subry, an OG games athlete.
Huh.
That's cool.
And the brother was so good too, Garrett.
Yeah.
And then he
had nice hair too. He was always perfectly, like, no matter what the workout was, his hair wouldn't move an inch. It's like the best hair.
He looked like Clark Kent.
Yes.
But he got that big offer from Rick Ross.
Yes.
To get him into shape and all that money.
Was it Ross Fit?
CrossFit.
Ross Fit. Wow. I remember that. And I remember watching the videos on that too. That was big.
It was.
I wonder how long he did that for.
Smoking a joint before he does thrusters. Oh gosh, the days. And again, another one of these retirement videos. I miss the Reebok uniforms so much.
Yep.
And it's not just the wild colors. It's that they look like a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
The last couple years look like t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when it looked like a uniform. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I agree.
Happy trails to Lauren Fisher. Hope you find all the happiness in the world. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Now we're going to get into a bunch of Dave stuff. So Dave had a weekend review where he made a couple announcements, and then today he did something that we'll talk about as well. So first of all, he announces that there will be a repeat workout in this year's Open. Jamie has a theory. Jamie, go.
Ew. Well, I've heard, they come out and people are always guessing. Oh, I think it'll be this, I heard a lot of 19.1s, super basic, right? Wall ball row. And then I was on Reddit is where I got this and did some looking, and it's so 20.5 is the row, wall ball, ring muscle up, broken up however you want. And Lazar won that worldwide. So I can see them pulling some type of a little tribute there. And it's an incredible workout when the Open, like you're only going to the top 1%. Like that's the thing when people are saying workouts like even the deadlift bar facing burpee one, just like those basic workouts, sure, there's some separation at the top, but like this workout, when you throw in those ring muscle ups, are like everyone can do it. I mean, you can do the row and the wall ball part and only do one ring muscle up or none. But it's really going to separate the haves from the have-nots.
And because you can do it in any order, even for the regular population, they would just race through those first two movements and then would get some time to possibly attempt ring muscle ups for some of the members that would be, close to it. I don't know if the scaled version was with pull-ups or
I was wondering that too. I should have went and looked.
But for those intermediate-ish RX athletes that might not be able to finish it, it's an opportunity to just kind of strategically get through, the two movements, get your tiebreaker time, and then try to get as many ring muscle ups. So I do like that workout. I'm not a huge fan personally of choose your own adventure for a qualifier workout. I like it in training. I don't like the idea that like the strategy matters, I guess.
I know. I get you there.
Yeah. Because I want to do like the same type of workout that everyone did at this, same rep schemes or whatever it is.
Do you know?
But it's a great workout.
Do you know how Lazar broke it up?
No.
Should go.
But this is a different workout, I think, for the men than women, though.
100%.
So it would be hard to compare, just because of the power as well on the row, and their upper body endurance is different.
Yeah.
There's a 22.1.
That's
there's a 24.1. Please no KDL.
Well, he probably doesn't want, so she's saying no to the 24.1. 22.1 was the wall walk, dumbbell snatch, box jump over.
Larry Young says CrossFit has been posting a lot of pistols. Thought I was going to do it slow. Not happening.
What was that pistol one? The one with the...
That's 19.3, I think. And it has box jumps, increasing weight of clean and jerk. Jeff Adler crushed that one worldwide and won it. I don't know who went on the female side. I just remember Jeff had one of the biggest separations with the elite field on that.
That's a good workout.
Sarah, I love the idea, but this is Dave saying there will be a repeat Open workout.
Yeah.
22.1 gave so many of my members false hope. And Larry Young, 20.4 is mine. So in addition to that, he also said that he will not be doing the Open announcements.
Yeah.
But that they will be doing some head-to-heads. And apparently if you want to host or do the announcement, you can submit a video and audition for that.
I love that idea. I
Yeah,
mean, I wish we were an affiliate and I could, because like I love that we have like Jim and Haley, like we have a wide array to show. But they would never pick an unaffiliated gym. So
I want to see somebody with something exciting to bring, like how they present it, right?
yeah,
Show me. That's what I want to see in an audition video. I don't care like how good the people doing it are. I want to see. The last time they went to the affiliates, it was like reading from a card in monotone, and the next is a kettlebell swing with, like, it was bad. Like, give me some.
See, I care about the matchup. I don't want to just be
going to be still
people,
arranged by CrossFit.
like moderately going at it. Like I want to see like what are good scores? What are the best doing?
Dave says they've already reached out to people and asked them to be a part of the matchups. So I think CrossFit's still doing the matchups. It's just what affiliate's going to be hosting.
Gotcha.
That.
it's a cool idea.
Then the last thing from the week in review, and this was way at the end, he said that there's an idea that was brought up to him that he really likes about the top 10 from the Community Cup in each level coming to the CrossFit Games and doing an exhibition.
So 200 you're bringing 200 people.
So remember, the levels are 1 and 2 compete. So it's only five
okay.
groups. So it'd be 50 and 50. My guess is he's just spitballing here. So don't like take the number seriously. I think if you did like top 5, I think it's a workable idea.
Yeah.
But there will be a lot of like, I think that's better than teams, the way they've been doing it lately. Like to watch that instead of teams. And you can change up the workout so you're not watching like the same thing over and over again. Right? And what an incentive that would be for the general community.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's a cool idea.
CrossFit. Remember when they made Lauren Brooks do a muscle up workout against Julie Fouché? That was like, why would you pick someone that's just like not their strength versus someone's wheelhouse? I always wondered if they picked athletes for the matchups, if they were picked based off the movements, but they apparently weren't. And I feel like that's a miss. Like you should pick based off the movements and get them to go head to head. Like that's what's exciting if it's a close race.
I don't disagree with you, Kenneth, but that's way more divisions.
Yes.
In addition to that, they all occur after the games. So you're screwed there unless they change that up. And we've said that for a year, that really they should be first. And at the very least, like highlight reels should be shown at the games of the other divisions. So I thought that was really interesting and a way to get a lot of buy-in to the Community Cup. The next thing is Dave announced today that he's starting, well, he kind of has been mentioning it, but he did start it today, an affiliate series where he's interviewing affiliate owners like he did the athletes last year. And he started it today with Hari Singh, who owns CrossFit NYC. And he actually has 2 locations in New York City, one in downtown Manhattan and one on the Upper West Side, I believe, called Flatiron. It's the oldest CrossFit gym in the world is what they claim, because they were on the original list of 16 affiliates when affiliates were first named. And the coolest thing I took from it was their 2 biggest drop-in days are Wednesdays and Saturday. So they program those days to make it approachable every week so that like when a new person comes in, you're not doing handstand walks and snatches and trying to scale for them. Those 2 days are designed more approachable for people dropping in. And they are massive gyms, like hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe even 1,000
That's crazy.
at the height of their popularity. But it was really, really interesting. Did either of you get a chance to watch it?
I caught about 15 minutes of it before this. Not enough.
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't take too much from it versus like an athlete podcast. Yeah, that was one thing I found interesting. I still like the on ramps before people get into classes personally. Just having a few one-on-one sessions and getting them comfortable with the movements prior to just entering a class with no experience, especially if you have huge classes like that where the attention, you still want some attention on all the other members, and it can draw a lot of attention to a certain person, but to each their own for their the way that they run their gym. And I think it's going to be interesting to see different ideas that other affiliate owners will have, and as that podcast continues to grow, like just different people on it, I think we'll be able to share some ideas maybe of what works for them, what hasn't worked. And I hope that there's some good questions that can get asked to Dave, and that the affiliate owners aren't also afraid to have like hard conversations with Dave, and it's not just going on and
Yeah.
bowing down or not really
Yeah, I
pushing
think-
back on anything. Like I hope that there's some good dialogue and some ideas getting shared on how to make the affiliates better, how CrossFit can help the affiliates even more so, and plans of the season and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I'd be curious of. And I missed this. Like, does he talk about HQ and their presence, and like how I heard him talking about using Two Brain. And it boggles my mind that a gym that big would even need to use Two Brain. So like what's going on there? What is Two Brain providing that HQ isn't? I don't know.
So he talks about that it made them more efficient, that they were doing things that was like a waste of time and money. So it was really just cleaning up some of the stuff. D. Reed says, why does everyone attach fear to conversation with Dave? This guy was not afraid of Dave. He said that the open puts a lot on affiliate owners, and it really brings, is really hard on them. And that the best thing they did was make it a 3-week open. I know everybody's like, we need to go back to a 5. We need to go back to a 5. But these affiliate owners are like, he was like, it almost broke me.
It is a lot.
So yeah, I thought it was good. I think it'll get better as they go. I think that happened in the athlete ones. Like
Yeah.
he was
Yep.
so worried about the time and this and that, and it'll get to something that flows a little bit better once he gets some topics he wants to talk about. But I thought the guy was very open and honest, but he's also, you can tell, like he doesn't coach anymore.
Right.
He's one of the first affiliate owners. The guy that does is his lead coach, has been there since the beginning. He started at like 10th grade, and he's now their like lead coach, and he's never coached anywhere else.
That's awesome.
And he did, I guess this is the last thing. The tip he did say is, like he treats his employees like an employee, not a 1099. Because retention is important in New York City. Having everybody, and you need them to feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I like the interview. I just like you said, I think with the athlete interviews, they got better and better, and Dave got better with his questions, and the interactions got better. So I assume that the more that we'll see some affiliate owners, the more we'll dig into some problems or things that are good happening at different affiliates around the world, and just sharing all the good and bad that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry about that. So then we have TFX that happened this weekend. One of the oldest CrossFit competitions in the world as well. Jeremy Teal started this way back in like 07, 08. But it has become kind of a mid-major. But it's where you can kind of see the rising stars and who might make the games the following year or might become a challenger in the WFP. So let's take a look at the leaderboard from the weekend. So this is the women's pro division.
Caitlin Sanders also did very well on the NorCal Classic
Mhm.
workouts.
Hannah Black has been kind of a mainstay at this mid comp level, but she went team last year.
But you can see here just by the point gap that Sanders was in a different league compared to them. More consistent. Obviously has no holes.
Tracy Johnson, interesting story. Last year when we followed athletes from the Open to the games, if they made it, that you and Jamie were both a part of, Jamie and Carolyne were both a part of. We followed her that year in the Open. And so it's cool to see her on the podium.
She did the NorCal qualifiers too, but she was further down.
And Amy Hosking is a friend of the show, as well as Faith Stewart. So top 5, we have Faith Stewart, Amy Hosking, Tracy Johnson, Hannah Black, Caitlin Saunders. Pretty cool. And then on the men's side, Casey Strong took the win by 5 points.
Wow.
And
a tight race.
Yeah,
Holy
tie.
cow.
Tie for second with Jacob Marlowe and Matt Brady.
Wow.
Both friends of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raphael Sanson took 4th. Greg Gross took 5th. And
I
then
didn't
our
look
friend
at the workouts
Colten-
this year,
I
but
didn't
was
either.
there anything? You didn't look at them either. I didn't
Mm-mm.
see if there's anything unique. Like, I think it was last year or the year before, they had some triple unders or maybe something that was different there that I was like, oh.
Larry Young, for not being a huge comp, it's one of my faves. Chubby John Young got beat down.
Oh, where'd he finish?
He's in the men's RX. He won the snatch, but struggles on.
There was a run, I heard. That's the only thing I know.
Run, lunge, run.
Yeah.
Keep going down.
I'm going.
And really, his snatch is what helps him go up a little bit.
38th place.
If you click on him, you'll see all his results.
Run, lunge, run, 46th.
A to Z 40th, 42nd, Olay 1st, and then 32nd, 37th.
All right. Well, we know you're strong, John.
So if you've never been to TFX, it's really a unique competition. It's like, I would call it a 3-ring circus. There are 3 fields of play in like a triangle, and one is like a running field where you run like off pavement into this grass. There's another one that's like a cement asphalt parking lot that is made with a big rig, where you do like a lot of the gymnastic stuff. And then usually there's a indoor floor that is lifting and things of that nature. So there's always action going on. They have a ton of community divisions. And it's really a big comp for not being a big comp.
Yeah.
Like, same premise as Wodapalooza with all the masters divisions, all like the RX, the intermediate, all of that kind of stuff. It just, I think they're a victim of timing. But now that Wodapalooza is moving to March, it may actually open this up to be a bigger comp as like a precursor to the season.
I can see that.
So CrossFit says, I'm working on my grid bod sound effect. John, not last young.
Do they pay out for that? You know what the prize purse is?
I
saw
think they pay. I just don't know.
I saw a post, I think it was today from them that said the pricing, but I don't know if it was for this one or they're a semifinal, right?
Not this one. The one in May, or they're one of the later ones in the in-person, and that one is a semi.
Because they posted something 11 hours ago that said 2025 prize purse, 2025 prize purse. And I don't know if that was for this weekend. I just sent it to you. It had first place was 4,000, second place was 1,500, and third place was 750. But I don't know if it's from, I'm assuming it's from this weekend. And then it paid out the pro teams. It even paid out Masters 400, 150, 75.
Yeah, this would be this one this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I went down a couple years ago, and I know they had checks, like the big paper checks. People were walking around with them at the end. So yeah.
Well, hopefully Jacob gets his money. I know they're waiting on money from that MBS turkey trot comp.
Well, that's a great segue. So that's happened. I don't know a lot of details about it. I know that the reps ahead people did get paid, but it's like out of pocket from the guy that's been running it, not really from the account of the company. And then the MBS turkey trot they said they were going to have it within 30 days. It's been like 2 months since he said that, and nothing has been paid. And nothing really aggravates me more than promising to pay the athletes and then not.
Yep.
Like, if you're running an event, you have a budget.
Yeah.
And part of that budget is the prize money.
Well, yeah, that's how you got people to sign up.
Right. And if I'm an athlete, I'm building that account.
Mm-hmm.
And where did my money go to pay these athletes what they're supposed to? It's so bad.
It is bad. I hope they pay out. I hope it's just a
reps
setback.
I hadn't heard that. So reps ahead are having trouble paying out?
So reps ahead paid their athletes out of the organizer's own pocket, and because they were going to pay them all together as one from one account to make the accounting easier, because it was all at one event. But because the MBS Turkey Challenge did not pay their people out, the reps ahead guy paid out of his own pocket to make sure the reps ahead people.
Are they related? Is this two different? What is this turkey thingy like?
So
it was the competition that hosted,
and there is a loose connection at some sponsorship level, or
I thought it was with the Renovo was the issue.
It could be. It might be the sponsorship piece.
I gotta look more into this.
It's not good.
It's a long article from Spin. They dug in really deep, and there is some loose tie between the MBS Turkey Challenge and the reps ahead, but it's really loose, and I believe it's just a sponsor. So I don't know. And so they were going to pay all the prize money out of the same account. And when it didn't happen, the reps ahead guy went ahead and paid his athletes.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah. Jeremy, someone needs to pay me.
Yeah. That's the one that I feel like overpaid the reps ahead athletes. I did not like that. I mean, great if you have it, but to hear this, because that's the one that like they got like 2,000 in the semifinal, then they got like 5,000 in the final. Like they didn't need to do all that, and they needed to probably. But
if reps ahead budgeted in and they had the money, then that's fine. Let them pay whatever they want, and their athletes got paid. They shouldn't be lumped into this mess.
Yeah, if they're not in this mess, but they're like indirectly, like that's not their fault.
I don't know.
And like if they're paying the athletes, like I thought that was cool that those athletes got like those semifinals and then finals.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that. Just saying.
Well, of course,
If
but
you-
I would also be down for winning my first place prize money as the
Yeah.
entry at the
I did this online competition last year called Fitness Comps, and I would do every one of their quarterly workouts, and it was like registration was $20, and then first place was like $350, $250, and then $150 online. And then they just, after the third one last year, they just like ghosted and didn't pay, like didn't reply back to anything. And like Mayhem was the one that was programming for that one, and people were supposed to win like a skier for like the top gyms. I still haven't gotten paid from it, but other athletes complained and have even gone to like Mayhem to be like, hey, if you're putting your name on this online qualifier, like what's going on. So some of the athletes I think ended up getting paid. I'm still waiting on mine, but this was like last August. But they like I sent so many emails and like nothing. So like I messaged one of the guys that used to be in charge of it until he sold it like a year or two ago. And then he was able to get back to me and says that he'll sort it out. But I feel like this kind of stuff probably happens a lot more than what we even know about.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the old Seinfeld bit. Like, it's only a reservation if you hold the table or the car, right? If you give that away to somebody else, then my reservation didn't mean anything. Like, you promised to pay this money. It should have been set aside so that the winner, the second place, whatever, all of their money was sitting there waiting to be paid out. That's what irked me with, I hate doing this, with Legends 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That they did it kind of covertly.
Mm-hmm.
They spent a shit ton of money on signage and all this stuff to make it look like this awesome venue. And then it didn't stream anyway, so nobody got to see it. So you're wasting money on signage when that could have been money paid out to the athletes that you have always paid out for years. That was a travesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken West was a shit show. We don't need to go back over that. So then we have the Dottirs video. The Buttery Bros did a documentary following the Dottirs around Wadapalooza. I watched it this morning because I had not done that yet. I have some strong feelings about it, but I'll let you guys go first.
I enjoyed the documentary. I think there's some good older pieces with like the history of them and old footage from their training. And it was funny to see some of their expectations of the weekend and then maybe how things played out and where they're at in their career is not as competitive, maybe together as, 2015, 2016, if that was the team, that would be a way different result. But I thought that they had some honest conversations, honest answers of how they feel about last season and where their head is at. And I respect them being honest on their thoughts. And I enjoyed it.
So I didn't watch the Buttery Bros documentary. I've just seen the clips and like most of Hiller's. So I'm obviously probably taken out of context a bit. It's skewed that way. But I mean, yeah, I got the general idea of what Annie said and talking about, I mean, she phrases it right. Like, you need to do what makes sense for you. And she's not going to fault anyone for making their own decision. And that's great. But I think anything other than supporting the brand that got you to where you are is a little bit of a slap in the face. Even if you don't think things were going to handle correctly. Like, I don't see her stepping away from CrossFit 100%. And she's got doesn't she have a role in the affiliate at Reykjavik? She owns it. So you don't think as the affiliate owner, she's going to try to get her members to participate in this? She's not excited at all about the Community Cup. I mean, you can't want this sport to die.
Okay, so overall, the documentary to me was it was straight down the fairway, Buttery Bros. Everything that they've done in the CrossFit space, their action shots are awesome as always. The editing is great. The music is awesome. The history part I found fascinating. I really enjoyed all that. And so for the most part, I enjoyed the video. There was nothing in there that I learned new because I'm a geek and I consume so much of this stuff, but they did it in their way. And I thought it was pretty good. What I will say about what Annie said, this is my confusion. You own an affiliate and you're not de-affiliating. Yet you're not signing up for the Open. And I don't care if you don't want to sign up for the Open, that's fine. But to be vague about the reason, because morally I can't, I don't think is a specific enough reason why you're not doing it when you hold so much influence over the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's a lot of people at an affiliate that are doing CrossFit and they don't do the sport and they don't sign up for the Open, and it doesn't make them any less of a CrossFitter by doing the Open or not. Like it doesn't, like there's so many people at affiliates that do not do the Open and they still say that they CrossFit and they do CrossFit. You don't have to do the Open to say that. The sport is different than the methodology. And maybe that's where her head is at, is the sports side of it. She's not necessarily maybe supporting that from last year until she saw more changes, more concrete changes of what she's looking for, but can still maybe get behind the methodology and everything it's done for people's lives in terms of, obesity and health and community part. But
I mean, she even did it pregnant. Put the burpees down in a square so she could get her belly down into the center. Like she's made. It's weird to me. Like I feel like either you should have been clear about specifically why you don't want to do it this year, or because she's made a point
she
of
did,
doing.
she did say in it that she did not like the response from the team, and because of that, morally, she couldn't get herself to do the season this year. Like that's her answer.
Then I would think you would
and her name was signed on, and her name was signed on the PFAA demand. So we know what that answer is for her. So like there's no lying on her part there. Like she stood behind what she signed her name on. She's still, doing CrossFit. Like that's the way that she's going to stay in shape for the rest of her life. We'll support her community that wants to take part in it. Her decision. And then she said that she doesn't put any pressure on other people, or, will understand people that are doing it and not, but that's her decision, her personal decision.
I completely hear you, Carolyne, and I understand what you're saying, and I don't completely disagree. But what I think is, if she would have said it was going to need a change in the leadership for me to sign up for the Open, I think I would have been okay with whatever happened after that. I think where the PFA made their demands, CrossFit responded with something. It may not have been their demands, and they may not have responded directly to, but it was something. To then say it's to be vague at that point, or even if she was said they came back with this committee and that committee and this committee, and that's not good enough for me, I'm not doing the Open, I would have understood better. I just didn't like the vagueness, because I think she holds an influence. I think the people that are doing the Open, and especially the young athletes, we're not going to get anywhere near 300,000 Open people. The payouts for this year are going to be bitterly small compared to years past. And I think that that influence is affecting that.
Yeah.
And I'm completely fine with her not doing it because of she wanted Dave fired and they didn't fire Dave. I just wish she'd say it so that like others understood this is the specific reason why I'm not doing it.
But she could have like her own personal, like she knew Lazar as well, on a personal level, competing in the European region. Like, I don't think she needs to disclose every single thing that she's feeling on the situation necessarily. Again, that's her personal decision. And then other people will take their own routes. And the same thing happened at the games. People did what they felt was their best, like the decision that they could live with. And some of them regretted it. Some of them didn't regret it. It was what it was, it was what it was. But
in 2016 or 2015, when she was running back in on Murph and side swaying everywhere, and the medical team took care of her and all of those things, like there was a community that I don't know.
Yeah, but there's people that were there for her. No one was there for Lazar. I don't think that's comparable. It's not the same thing. Like the medical team was there when she was, delusional and having heat problems. Like I don't think that that's a comparable thing necessarily. Like people decide to do the open or not every year, whether they retire and it's the pressure of the leaderboard and people say nothing. Like, oh yeah, don't do the open. Be with your community.
But she said just enough about it to lead to this, whatever it is. I just,
it's the easy way out.
Far, make the one more step to say why.
Right. It's the easy way out to take the somewhat popular stance. Seems to be the popular stance. You're not going to ruffle any feathers really, besides like these few diehards that think you should be supporting the open because it's your career. It's gotten you to where like there's going to be people that speak out like that. But I think she's taking the easy way out. And I don't know. It's just, I get it. I get she made a demand and doesn't feel like it was met and isn't happy with things. And this is the choice she's making. I find it hard when you own an affiliate and you're going to run the open. But I mean, I just go all, yes. The pack says it, just go all in and de-affiliate and that's it.
No, because there's a difference between the sport and CrossFit. You can still affiliate and still represent in terms of the methodology and everything it's done. The sport is different though. The open does not make it
the open and just the open. She should just be doing the open and support it. And from there, not anything beyond that.
What? No, that's the opposite.
She should do the open. She should do the open along with
choose not to do the open. I'm okay with that.
I'm saying anyone at the gym, regardless of whether it's Annie Thor's daughter, your regular member that just walked in, it does not make them less of a CrossFitter if they do or don't do the open. The open is not what determines whether you're you're part of. It's a fun community event. You get to see where you're at every year, all of that. It's a competition. Not everyone even likes a competition. A lot of people that do CrossFit don't even want to do anything to do with the sport. You're bought into the community. You're bought into your gym. A lot of people are doing the workouts just to do it within their community without even signing up. You see that every year. It doesn't make it. Doing the open, signing up for the open doesn't necessarily make them any less of a CrossFitter. Now, some people will sign up to support their affiliate. Absolutely, right? Like you're all in with your affiliate. Everyone has their own path, I guess. That's my.
Ken says she wasn't telling other people to not do the open, at least.
Exactly.
And
she's not telling people not to do it.
I somewhat disagree with that. I feel like the stance she took was basically saying don't sign up for the open.
She literally said herself, and then even at the end said, like, you guys, like, she's at the end of her career too. Like, it's easier for her to probably step away from the sport and just do the methodology in terms of that's how, like, I'm always going to do CrossFit, like whether I'm, competing or not, like it's the best way to train. It's the best way to be fit in the world. And it's probably an easier decision as she's also like not necessarily in her prime to decide, but she didn't say anything about getting other people to join her and not affiliating or not competing. She said, there's other options out there. If this is the right thing for you, like, go ahead. Like, it's.
So I believe that she is telling people not to do it because who she is and her influence on others.
100%.
She doesn't have to say don't do it.
Right.
She can just say I'm not doing it, and people are going to follow her lead into that. That's because people are going to follow her lead. I think that at that point, it's on her to say why. So people are making an educated decision as to why they're not doing the open. That's my point.
Yeah.
And then Katrin said she's not doing the open, but she's retired and it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah.
Then you go to Sarah. Sarah's doing the open.
Yeah.
So the Dottirs can't agree.
And that's okay. Like, everyone's going to do what's best for them. And I think that's what's going to happen. Like, it's great for Sarah. Like, Sarah wants to compete. She still has that drive that she's always had. She's going to do Wadland or Wadfest. What is it called? The European one.
Yeah.
And going to try to probably do the one that is in UAE, I would assume, since she lives there. That'd be a good opportunity for her to qualify there. But
we need to probably move on to get through the next couple things, but did we know that she didn't have an ACL before this documentary?
Sarah?
I don't think I knew that.
I
can't remember if I did.
Her body ate it.
I feel like that was something that she talked about. Was that on Savant's podcast? I can't remember. Like, she talked about almost like an autoimmune and like her body. I don't know if she was clear on like what, but I do feel like we got, yeah. So Sarah says, yes, we did. I think she did say that.
Okay. I've watched a lot of Sarah stuff, and I know a lot has gone wrong over the last few years. But now she's doing stem cells to try to regrow it. But it's going to take 8 to 10 months for her to see the results of that.
Crazy.
So, and again, I just want to say, I do the open or don't do the open. I'm okay with all of that. If you have a lot of influence, though, I think there's a responsibility to take a step further. Finally, we have a couple more things. Mayhem is now dominating the in-person semifinal system in CrossFit. They are programming their own Mayhem Classic. They are programming Wadland in Europe, and they're programming the French Throwdown. There's 10 events in person, and 3 of them, so 30% of the in-person semifinals are being programmed by Mayhem. Is that a conflict of interest?
I believe so. I was the one that brought it up. Like, when we were chatting, I was like, they already have their own thingy there. For them to be programming 3 of the events, and maybe they can correct this if I read wrong, but I did see that their name was programming at least the qualifier for the Wadfest, and I did believe I read that they were programming the French Throwdown. I don't know. I think that there could be some definitely advantage to being a Mayhem athlete with the style of programming.
That and like clearly leaks can't be stopped. So it's like, yeah, somebody has an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
James W., that's the definition of conflict of interest. Sarah's asking if they're sponsoring those events, though, too. I have no idea.
They're a sponsor at the NorCal one, but they're not programming the NorCal. Not sure about the other two, if they're sponsoring or not.
Are any other camps programming? Not that I have seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's just event organizers or if it just hasn't been released yet.
It really should just be the event organizer.
So Jeremy says, does it have to be approved by HQ? I don't think this year it does. I've not seen any of that in this in-person. You can program whatever you want, and
except swimming, right? That was laid out, right?
Well, open water swimming.
Yeah. Okay.
If they are programming 2 and sponsoring a 3rd, are they just keeping this afloat?
It should just be the Mayhem games. It should.
I mean, they are doing well for themselves. So.
Well, the one thing for sure is if you're a competitive athlete and you want to do well, I bet you they're selling the shit out of their programming.
I bet you they are.
You want to at least take a peek as to what they're programming day to day.
Well, that's Craig's. You see Craig's comment here?
Did Seth switch from Mayhem to Underdog? Not a clue. I can't keep up with the switching.
That would surprise me.
Does he live there?
In a van.
Still?
That's true.
No.
I don't know if he bought. Did he buy a house in Cookeville?
He actually was living in a residence.
Okay.
But he was really tight with the guys at Mayhem when I interviewed him last year at Syndicate. Like Dre was back there with him and Tyler. So
I feel like Rich really believes in him.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's good.
The dude's got potential.
He was so close to making it last year.
Was he one spot out or 2?
I think
was it Dre that they had 2 Mayhem people that were so close? I thought, right? Dre and him.
He didn't do real well on the last event. If he would have done just a little bit better, he would have made it in.
Yeah.
James W., imagine if the Chiefs management got to decide the rules for a game the Chiefs were playing in and ran a game the Chiefs were playing in. Do we think the players wouldn't have an advantage?
Oh,
I think
just
we
like
thought the whole playoffs.
Just like normal football, got it.
Jeremy says Rich believes in the Lord. That's who he believes in. So anyway, that's going on. Keep an eye on that because that is crazy that they are involved with at least 3 semis this year. 30% of your opportunity to make the games. Lucy Campbell's on the spin. This is just here for a quick. I had an editorial comment. What I loved about Lucy, this is what I loved about her when I interviewed her, is she's not afraid to say what she thinks. And when John and Tyler and Brian were being critical of the WFP that she has become a part of, she said, why are you being critical of them when CrossFit has not changed and made the changes they've need to make to ensure us a better opportunity? That's why athletes are doing both, because we've wanted change here. It's never happened. There's an opportunity here for that change. Let's see what they can do with it. and she said it way better than I did, but she is just so smart and it's not afraid to fight back on things. And if usually when an athlete comes on the spin, they're there for 15 minutes. She was there for 60.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was a great interview. And she even goes into her reasoning to do the open, which I loved. And she said that, like, while she does not agree with, the response and what happened, and there's a lot of changes that needs to happen, she talks about, how CrossFit has changed her life and the lives of so many people around her. And for that reason, like, it's so important for her to do the open. And
Love that.
and that, that's a different perspective of other athletes that, also don't agree, but some of them won't do it. And then she doesn't agree, but also understands the influence that it's had on her life and the people around her. And, she's going to partake in the open, which again, I think, was a great response for her. And she's going to do both and really maximize her opportunities this year, I think, and roll with her momentum from, Wodapalooza. Now, if you haven't listened to her interview, it's a really, really good one. I think it was my favorite of an athlete that's been on that show. Yeah, she's great. Love her.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there and promote that because it was really well worth the watch. I usually watch them every Wednesday night when I go to bed. Last Wednesday I did not because of everything going on with my job. And I almost skipped it. And I'm so glad I went back and grabbed it because it was awesome. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I talked about this briefly on the roundtable on Thursday, is I follow a swimming podcast called Unfiltered Water with Katie Hoff and Missy Franklin. I've done that since before the Olympics this year. It's a relatively new podcast, only been around a year. They had Brooke Wells on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it popped into my home like suggested videos, and then I saw that you talked about it, and I was like, okay, I'll go click on it.
Well, and now they've cut it up. They're cutting.
Yeah, they've done little.
So there's a lot of like little 8-minute pieces from it. But what I found most fascinating, and I talked about some things on Thursday, and I'll go in a different direction tonight, is that when swimmers who do swimming, and that's all they do is swimming, and they train for it for 4 years, their training is even though it's just as long as a CrossFitter that's training to make the CrossFit Games, it is so monostructurally set, right? And you even break it down more, like this one's a breaststroker, and that's all she does is breaststroke. So when Brooke is saying, like, we don't even know what we're going to be challenged with when we go to the games, and their thing is like, you mean I could be a breaststroker and I show up at the games and they say, well, this year you're doing butterfly. And and Brooke's like, yeah, that's how it is. And like, that would wreck our world. And it was really fascinating to hear this high-end athlete in awe of what CrossFit does. And I thought that was really cool. The other piece I got out of it, and I said this Thursday, I've never been a big Brooke Wells fan. So it was hard for me to watch it, but because it was my swimming podcast, I went ahead. She is really trying to find balance in her life at this point. And she thinks she's been training too hard. And it's breaking her body down. And so she's trying to she doesn't want to miss every occasion with her family and every occasion with her friends. And she's not going to do that this year. She's going to try to be more balanced in her training moving forward through the season. But the interesting thing is the swimming podcast takes place in Nashville. That's where Brooke lives. Katie's husband does CrossFit. That's how the connection came up. And it was really, really cool.
Yeah, anytime there's like sports specifics, like athletes that only do that, they're always mind blown by the fact that we do things differently all the time. But it's like, that's the beauty of CrossFit. That's why the methodology works so well. Like, and it's just doing different things, not randomly, but it's varied. But constantly changing, and your body's having to adapt. And like I love that aspect of CrossFit, the fact that it's different all the time, and you're not doing the same type of training year in and year out, and getting those overusage injuries from just doing the same thing.
And we listen to so many podcasts. It was interesting getting these curiosity questions from people that don't know the CrossFit sport that in depth, asking one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of misconceptions about CrossFit out there, right? Like I went to do an MRI I think it was last week. It was like an MRI that I'd booked like from like months ago. And nothing's wrong. Like just my shoulder had like a small thing from NorCal, and I was like, oh, they're like, what sport do you do? And I was like, oh, CrossFit. And then right away the person was like, oh, that's a dangerous, of course, shoulder. And I was like, actually, no, like I've competed at the highest level and I haven't had any major injuries. And I had to like really talk about, defend the sport. And I was there defending it on the table, like how, it's being smart with your body. And I really haven't had any, small little tweaks. And I'm just like as soon as something is a little bit off, I'm proactive and I'll get something looked at. But yeah, it was like, nope, this is the sport. This is what it is. This is what we do. The people that are getting injured is, ego problems or not listening to their body. And, like there's more injuries in these type of sports than this, and it can be for anyone. So I was there on the table defending it and being like, you could do it too, just selling it.
Yeah. Every medical professional I tell that I do CrossFit, it's immediate. Like
I get so angry. I'm like, no, like you guys have no idea. But
you're the one that built you guys are the ones that build my edition. And
oh, I hate when they say that. And I'm like, no, like we keep so many people, out of hospitals because we're making them fitter.
Yeah. So Jeremy says you sacrifice things, comes with the territory. She kind of explains it this way. At 19, she made the games by accident. She went to regionals in 2000. That would have been 16. At the age of 19, made it by accident, has made it every year other than 23 since then.
That was the foot injury?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she had a full rupture of the plantar fasciitis. And finished regional or semifinals. And she says in the podcast, like, even if she would have made the game, she could not have competed.
Did she get surgery for that? Is that a surgery?
She did not say.
Yeah.
I think she said stem cell. So she may have went a different route. But yeah, I think it's been a long time of steady training 6 hours a day. And
yeah,
which I find crazy. Like I do not train that much. Like, and I never have. Like 6 hours to me is just like, what do you do at the gym for that long? Like, are they just doing mobility for like an hour? Are they talking? Like when athletes say 6 hours a day, I'm like, how much is that actually training? Like
2.5.
And that's what I do. I do like 2 hours, 2.5, maybe at most. And if I'm there just chit chatting away with people, because that's what I like to do, then I'm there a little bit longer. But like 6 hours, I'm like, what do you even do for that long at the gym?
Stem cells aren't considered PEDs. Apparently not.
Yeah.
I was just wondering that when I listened to the Buttery thing, I was wondering that when Sarah said the stem cell too, because I don't know enough about that. I was like, is that legal? I forgot to Google it.
I don't even know if you can get it. For a while, it was illegal in the States just to get it. Like,
right. Yeah, you got to go to Mexico to get it.
But like, I think it's now legal here, and it's a naturally occurring thing in the body. It's not like an enhanced cell.
Well, I mean, so is testosterone.
So is BPC.
Is testosterone, and people can still insert.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how you would detect it though, because they're blank when they go in.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, it was a great podcast. It was really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, check it out. But I was also going to say to Carolyne, aren't you the definition of the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum? Like for so many years, you have built your fitness level to a point where you can take some beating back and you don't fall back the continuum very far.
I feel like I was at my fittest probably when I was 28 to 30. I'm 35 now. But I've still been able to compete at the highest level. It just depends on the workouts. But yeah, I think I've done a good job of listening to my body, of playing other sports. And like, I don't really take an off season. Like I've kind of that definition of just kind of always, training and ready to compete at any point in the year. Like I'm not peaking for anything. Like I'm just ready to go. Yeah.
CrossFit says my Mavs Lakers joke didn't land. I'll be honest with you guys. You guys were bringing in the comments so fast, could not even keep up. I know the Mavericks and the Lakers had a big trade last night.
I don't know about Lakers defense right now, but
Anthony Davis left, went to the Mavs. Luka Junkic.
Close enough. Jukic.
I don't know.
I was going to say Jukic, but that's Doncic. Yeah.
Yeah, Doncic went to the Lakers, and some other stuff happened, but those are the two big names. Yeah.
Difference in age.
You can tell I'm a big NBA guy.
Yeah, like Luka is like a top 3 to 5 player. AD's, very, very good defensively. He can be one of the best players, but he's often injured and is inconsistent in his play. It'll be an interesting trade. I mean, it's a better trade for the Lakers, absolutely, because you just grab the 25-year-old in his prime. And
unless he got fat.
I don't feel like he's ever been in great shape, but
yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that sometime this week on Lunch with the Clydesdale if I get my project finished tomorrow. With that, guys, wow, that was a quick show. And you guys were throwing in the comments. We love when that happens. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You can even join the channel if you wish. There's plenty of options for that. And if you will listen to us on Spotify or Amazon Music or iTunes or anything like that, leave a 5-star review. You know the drill. With that, we love you all. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Peace out.